Control-Alt-Redeem is for anyone called to ministry in the digital frontier. Gamers, streamers, and everyday believers navigating life online. Each episode equips you to live on mission and the real stories of lives being changed. Reset your expectations, reframe your mission, and redeem the space you're already in. This is where digital ministry gets practical, creative, grounded, and hopeful. One episode at a time.
To Control-Alt-Redeem. Love having you come in and hang out and just learn about what others are doing in the space. And today I have NightSaber with me. Welcome in, NightSaber.
Hello, glad to be here.
The Quiz King is in the house. How are we doing,
what
friend?
is up, brother?
Good to have you here. Those that are not watching, you're missing the fact, if you're not here live, you're missing the chicken emojis, or the chicken emojis dancing in the chat. So welcome in, Quiz King. Glad to have you in here. We'll need to get you on the podcast at some point. But what we do here is I invite in my friends who are hanging out in Twitch space, and this is my language, so they may not use labels. They are, I would say, a digital missionary, which just means they're sharing the love of Christ in a dark place to people who may have no connection with the church, no connection with Jesus, don't have any Christian friends, or they may be people that have been hurt by the church or are unable to ever make it to church. And we're just trying to redeem the space and reset the culture. And so, NightSaber, glad to have you here.
Yeah, no, glad to be here.
And how did you initially get drawn into Twitch, and when and how did you just start streaming on Twitch?
Wow. Okay, so I got involved with Twitch back in, I want to say 2021.
Okay.
Is when I started. And then I was, this was at a very rough spot in my life. So I was I was doing a lot of secular streaming. I was playing Call of Duty with people. Had a group of friends that were just in the wrong crowd. And I can delve into that a little bit more later. I ended up taking about a 2-year break from streaming and didn't come back till 23.
Okay. You were still gaming and playing Call of Duty? Were you still hanging with the same crowd during that time that you took off?
No, that friendship there was a huge fallout with that group. And so that's kind of what made me stop content creation. So basically what ended up happening was I started streaming on my Xbox through a Chromebook.
Okay.
And that Chromebook reached temperatures I did not know were possible. I had to have it propped up on 2 blocks of styrofoam.
Oh my.
On the ottoman in front of my chair. And I had to have I had a glass cutting board sitting underneath it because it would get so hot that it actually would. I was actually getting scared that my ottoman was gonna just ignite.
Oh man, I love the ingenuity of that. I have at multiple times to set up rigs because you don't always have the right mounting system. Like my monitor to the right here, I have a little piece of board that's cut off from one of the shelves that was left over from building my case over there for my hats, propped up on 2 2x4s that are on end, so I can have the monitor at the right height that I want it to, and it's just sitting there. Like, I didn't screw the boards together; they're just laying there. So the whole arrange things, make it work. I totally get that.
A buddy of mine that did a D&D thing on YouTube, his recording camera was stacked on a pile of Tupperware.
Well, when I've done my kitchen streams, so I take my camera that's right here in front of me, my Elgato, and then I mount it on the microwave, just pointed straight down, so that you can see what I'm cooking right there. And then I go over to the spice rack and pull that out and grab one of my fish cameras, and I set it on the spice rack so that it goes there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, the how do you engineer things to put them together to be in the right space? It's a fun thing until you can upgrade and do things more efficient. And sometimes the more creative approach is just a lot more fun anyway.
It's always more fun. Ukulele, hello, welcome in, friends. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you, ukulele.
But yeah, so I ended up taking a break from that, and then it was late 22, early 23 that I found a channel called Cross to Crown.
Yep, know him.
I got very involved with that community because it was something I had never seen before.
Right.
I was like, wait, what do you mean this guy is evangelizing in Call of Duty and he's putting it on the internet? And I was like, okay, I've streamed, but what is this? What is this? This is different. This something about this is drastically different from what I've done. And I was just I wanted to be part of this community, and I just felt the desire to be closer and as involved as I could be. And
so what did you do in that community? Were you moderating? How were you serving? Were you in the Discord?
So that's the thing, is I never had any special roles in that server. I was just another one of the 1,000 people that were there.
Okay.
He had, I don't know if he still has it. Probably not, because I think that server disappeared. He had a channel point redeem for 20,000 channel points to get into a private Discord, like an exclusive Discord server.
Okay. So you had to stick around the community long enough to earn, and then and then spend your points to say, I want to be part of the community. Okay, that's basically an interesting way to do it.
There was like a general Discord server, and then there was like I don't want to say VIP, but it was like an exclusive Discord server that people who had been around the community had the option to join with that point redeem.
Well, 20,000 is not a lot. I mean, it's significant. You've got to be there for a significant amount of time and committed and know everything. So that's an interesting way to approach it.
And so I got super involved there. Chris was very active in that server. He was there a lot. And I made a bunch of friendships in that server, some that I still have to this day. And the problem that I had, I ended up leaving that community with a handful of others that were moderators. The problem that I saw was that, and don't get me wrong, I still love Chris. He is an amazing guy. He today, because if I hadn't gotten back involved in that, I probably wouldn't be here.
Absolutely.
And I probably would not be part of this. So I have him to thank for all of that. But I think the problem that happened is he got too big too fast. And in my opinion, and a few others that shared the same opinion, he just handled it poorly and became very distant from the community and that tight-knit group that he had tried to create.
Okay.
And I can understand, because I mean, it's really hard when you have however many tens of thousands of people following you on Twitch and trying to talk to you, and everyone has different motives for reaching out. Some actually care, some actually want to build a friendship, some just want to rub shoulders with some guy who's famous on Twitch.
Well, on some level, most of my guests have not had the level of even being partner. There's been a few people who have been partner who've been guests, but they're not ones who have thousands of people watching you. So we have talked about our barriers or obstacles, and some of those are trolls or things that happen in our community. Well, if you're 10xing the number of people that are there, you're also 10xing the problems and the trolls that might be in the community.
Right. And that was the problem, is that I think he just didn't know how to handle it to the best to his knowledge at that point in time. I still tune into his streams every now and then just to see how he's doing and how things are going. Iron Man, thank you for the lurk. Appreciate it, brother. I got involved with him, and he one day, so because of this Discord server, what I was ending up doing is I would have stream on at super, super low volume on my Bluetooth headphones.
Right.
Just so I could be there while I was at work, so I could accrue those channel points to get into that server.
Yeah.
Because he streamed during the day when I was smack dab in the middle of work. Because he started streaming at 8 a.m. my time. And so I was like, well, if I'm going to get into the server, I'm going to do what I can to accrue these channel points. And if that means having Twitch running on my phone at work all the time, then that's what I'm going to do. And because of him rating Aki one of those times that I was at work, that's how I met Aki. And this was when I was super huge into Destiny.
Okay.
And I was like, wait, this guy plays Destiny? Well, shoot, if I'm going to get involved in a community, it's going to be that one for sure, because that means more people to play Destiny with.
Right.
And at that point in time, it was like scraping the barrel to find people that actually played the game, because it was in such a sad state. And then I got just involved, and I met so many people and so many friendships. I mean, that's even how I found out about Reach. And good Lord, that Aki, if I could go on a 5-hour rant about how much I love that man.
Well, if he tunes in, he'll get to hear it. So, you can say a few more things about him. Plus, we'll come back and circle around and talk about Reach later. So,
but so started secular streaming, ended up meeting Chris and getting to be part of that community for a good while. And that led me to Aki, and Aki led me to Chris and Aki both led me to the world of what is Christians streaming on Twitch, whether it be gaming or just chatting or artwork.
There's
so many vast categories.
There's so many vast categories, and I love that we are niching into those, and I'm finding people in those, and that people are taking vastly different approaches. So you mentioned Cross to Crown, whose forward approach is gaming, and
yes.
and that's where it is. Other people like Ukulele for Worship here, well, it's worship, so it's an entirely different it's also music, so it's also niche in a different way. And Ukulele was just adding a thought here. There's also just a big difference in the expectations of, I'm going to play games and be famous, and I'm going to run a community where people see me as a leader, mentor. And that's absolutely true. And
that is an amazing point.
Yeah, I didn't want to let that one slip by. And there is nothing wrong with, I'll put it this way, if there's a professional athlete or an actor or an actress who's out there and they're not doing Christian films, but they're overtly Christian, they're going to have an influence of people that's going to be different than if they were just doing Christian films. And so the same way, if you're in this space and you are gaming forward, there is nothing wrong with it. If you don't put your faith on your stream, nothing wrong with it. If you put it in your community, you do it in DMs, you do it in other spaces, nothing wrong with that. So I've not ever had a one-on-one conversation with Cross to Crown. I watched his streams probably early on, probably about the same time you were talking about 3-4 years ago. I see him pop up in my feed every once in a while, but I don't know the last time I actually went over to his channel and hung out there. And part of it is the amount of people in the stream. When you have hundreds or thousands of people watching to engage the chat and be part of that, it's a little bit different than the style that I want to watch. So that's part of the reason I don't go there.
Yeah, and I mean, for crying out loud, I think last time I checked in on him, he was at like 30,000 followers. I don't know what he's up to now.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But I mean, the dude does, obviously what he does works, not only for people in game, but for people watching.
Yeah, absolutely. And you were mentioning this about him leading you to Aki, leading you to Reach, leading you to other people. And you and I have been on Born Again Gamers podcast together multiple times. So it's led to that connection and community there, to now have you over here. So there's multiple ways. I was just thinking about how cool it would be, and I'm not going to do this, but if somebody were to put a family tree together of Twitch Christian streamers and who was the one that influenced them into the space and influenced them to become a Christian streamer, because I'd have to put Ukulele for Worship on there as well. But before that, the pioneer for me was Pastor Brock VR. Without Pastor Brock VR, I don't come to Twitch at all. And then without him going and rating Ukulele and getting introduced to other people, I don't get down the road further and decide I'm going to stream myself. So there's all of that interconnectedness, and we're building the space, and we're a small minority still. Oh, I got to follow.
Ironman _56 million.
I did as well. Thank you so much.
65 just followed.
Iron Man, thank you for the follow.
Oh, I love Iron Man. He's such a good guy. He is he's another member of Aki's community. That's where
Awesome.
I met him.
Cool. So anyway, you were where we were at, and I just wanted, and I love to do this, just take a side, reflect on what we've been talking about and interact. But you went and you found Aki, and then you're going to be involved more in that space. Is that when you decide to start streaming again? And what was the decision, because you had taken time off, to decide to be intentionally Christian in the space?
Yeah, so I took the time. So I was at this very dark spot in my life where I had essentially completely walked away from God and completely essentially given up. Like, I was at a point where it was, what's the point? I had just moved to a new state, and where the state that I lived in previously, I had an established home church that I was part of. There was never any like drama that was like groundbreak, that was like world ending. There was never any serious problems. There was never any like corruption that was at least visible to me. I mean, to my knowledge, there still isn't any. One and only thanks for the lurk, friend. And then I come to where I live now, the state I live in now, and it took me about 12 years to find a home church that I feel comfortable in and have been able to build community with. Because every church that I tried out here, the first church that I went to was, first off, let me preface for those of you who don't know. So I used to live on Long Island, New York. I lived in a borough of 250,000 people. Where I moved to, the town that I lived in, me and my family added we increased the population by almost a full 2%. When 6 of us moved there. We moved to a town of 496 people. And we were the 6 that made it 96. So the church that we went to there for the first time was a Church of Christ that was perpetually stuck in 1999 because they used an overhead projector for worship. They did not use any instruments, and the church might have been maybe a whole 900 square feet in size.
Wow. Yeah, I can picture that. I've seen those I've done rural ministry. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. So Midwest, super small town, even smaller church. And I was like, okay, well, this isn't exactly what I imagined. This isn't what I'm used to. Yeah, ukulele culture shock in all caps. And so the next town over was a Baptist church that was preached by the same pastor of the Church of Christ that we went to.
That's interesting.
He preached at 2 different churches. And I was like, okay, I guess that works. I mean, a pastor's a pastor. I've never experienced an issue with that. And then we go to that church, and everyone's super friendly. They're super welcoming. They're glad we made the move okay, and everything went well. No disrespect to the older generation. You guys I wish we could keep you guys around forever. The average age of that church might have been 70. I was 14, and the next oldest person was in their 40s, and the next youngest person was maybe 6 months old.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm coming from a huge youth group background going into 2 churches that have 0 youth programs. And so we got involved with this church. We're like, okay, this is something we could probably stick with. It's a Baptist church. It's what we're used to because I came from a Baptist church in New York. And then one Sunday, after like 3 weeks, and trying to be involved, I was running sound for them because I had an actual sound system. The pastor's doing the story of Jacob and Esau.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, I know this one. It's the one brother does the thing where he tricks the blind dad, and they do the thing, and then it progresses, and then everything happens. But then the pastor goes and says 4 words that have been etched in my head for 12 plus years.
Okay.
He said the words, God's plan didn't happen.
Oh.
Which I don't know if you guys know who this God guy is, but that's normally not the case. Normally, as in 100% of the time, that's not the case.
Right.
And that left such a sour taste in my mouth. And I knew it affected my parents too, because we didn't go back to that church ever. And I was like, oh my gosh, is this what this is out here? And then, so we did that. We went to another church that was an E-free church. And they ended up having issues with the board. Yeah, Quiz. He said the words in a sermon in a full sanctuary. God's plan didn't happen, and he could not have been more serious than when he said that. We went to an E-free church that had a problem with being transparent about budget things because my parents were at a board meeting, and my father's a numbers guy, and he noticed numbers didn't line up.
No.
And when he asked questions, he was basically told, hey, stop asking questions. And that's not who my father is. My father is not going to turn a blind eye.
Yeah.
And two, he's not going to be part of a church that is potentially embezzling funds or stealing money from its people.
Yeah.
So we walked away from that. We ended up as part of another church that was what I like to call, I call it a spite church, because the sole reason that church existed was because it split from another church because everybody sided with the worship leader because they think that the lead pastor screwed over the worship leader.
I like your title for that. One of the jokes that is in my family goes back to a Seinfeld episode where he's returning something and they ask, why are you returning it? And he says, for spite. Like it didn't fit. So that becomes a joke in my family because of that. And so that's the comment, like, why are you doing this? I'm doing this for spite. And I actually at one point joked around about having a podcast called For Spite. So you say that and I'm just like over here laughing like crazy, but you're absolutely right that there are at times when you have church split that some people join that side just to be against the other person.
Right. And that was I felt like just being there. I wasn't there for very long, but just being there, it felt like that was the whole existence of the church. Was we are gathered here as a body of Christ because we don't like those guys. And it's like, really? This is how? This is why this church is formed? Not to mention, the pastor was last name X. Lead deacon was last name X. The lead trustee was last name X. The worship leader was last name X. Like this, it's like 70% of this church was from the same family.
Well, when you get to rural places, I had a friend who was a pastor at a rural church that was over 100 years old, and essentially everyone in the town was related to one of three families. So,
and I could get that if this church was old, but this church was like on its second year of existence.
Oh, well, that's a little different.
So it was this pastor's entire family that was running this church, and stuff just didn't seem right. And you could tell that when they had guest speakers that they were very heavily favored towards this family, and they would be like, if they were preaching, they would preach like to them and not the congregation.
That's weird.
And so I myself needed to walk away from that. And then I ended up in going to a church, which was another E-free church. And I got super involved in that. I was part of a college and career group. I was helping leading a youth group. I was helping teach a class of 5th grade boys. Then about 2 years into that, one of the guys that was part of my youth group class, one of the other leaders, started a thing where he reached out to my mom privately and said, hey, there are rumors that you and your husband are attending another church. We need you to come in and basically renounce that church if you're going to continue to be members here. And my father was very not happy with that. Because one, why are you messaging my wife privately about this and not coming to me about it? And two, if we are attending another church, it's none of your business. And so that put another sour taste. I ended up walking away from that and being kind of involved. But that's where everything kind of that is where stuff takes the sour turn, because that was about where I walked away from God, because it was, okay, God, I've been to like 8 different churches. I've been through so much pastoral counseling, and why? Like, what is, like, are you even real? Like, is this just all a sham? Like, why am I wasting my time if something that made me so happy in New York has made me miserable here?
Yeah.
And one of the girls that I met in that college and career group, before we left, she had gotten engaged and married, and I made him a very good friend. I don't know what prompted it, or I think it had to have been, looking back, it just had to have been a God thing. But I was just scrolling through Instagram, my old Instagram DMs, and I saw her name, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to message her. And I sent her my number, and I said, hey, can you please have your husband call me? Like, I just need to talk to somebody. And she responded almost instantaneously. It's almost like she was like sitting there. It's almost as if like she was sitting there waiting for it, but I know that wasn't the case. Yeah. And he called me, and he goes, hey man, what's up? And I broke down, and I'm like, Steve, dude, I'm so done. Like, I can't anymore. I'm dealing with this and that, and like, what's the point? And he goes, okay. He's like, okay, well, let's start with square one. Like, where are you going to church right now? And I'm like, I haven't been for months, and I can't find anything. I can't feel that connection that I felt in New York. He goes, well, let's start on finding you a place to go to church, because you need to get back involved in that. And I'm like, I've tried so many places. Like, where do you go to church? And he goes, well, me and Lisa go to this church over here by where we work and where we live, which, for context, was over an hour away from where I lived currently at that point.
Yeah.
And he was like, if you're willing to make that drive, I'm like, Steve, I'm in such desperation right now that if an hour drive is the sacrifice I have to make, then I will do it. And he's like, okay, awesome. Okay, that sounds great. We won't be there this Sunday because we're both sick.
No. Oh no.
Because this was at the tail end of COVID.
The Quiz King just followed.
Hey, Quiz King, thanks for the follow.
And he goes, so just promise me you'll keep in touch with me throughout the week and come there next Sunday. And I'm like, you got it. Like, we will talk as much as we physically can, as much as your schedule allows. So that week goes by. It was a rough week, but nothing super eventful happened. I told Mom and Dad that I had talked to him and was going to check out a church that was that he had mentioned. I'm trying not to dox myself.
Yeah. You're doing a good job of not doxing yourself. So I just want to say, keep that up. Which also, by the way, just because somebody might be looking at, and we didn't address it to begin with, and people have different reasons, but one reason to not have your face on camera is to not dox yourself.
Yes, that is a choice that I've made. I'm trying to be better at keeping my online life and my public life separate, just because of the line of work that I'm in. So that's just mainly for safety reasons.
Absolutely.
I'll give teasers here and there.
Well, and even like it's getting even more and more that direction, like simply just having my face here, even if I had a streamer name, which I do, and you didn't know my real name, it's going to get to the point where facial recognition could just find me anywhere on the internet and then spill all of my information out there and all of that. However, as a pastor, I have been on the internet for a long time, and as a pastor, I am a public figure, so it's really hard to hide in the role that I've served in for the last 25 years and say, no, I'm going to be a private person. My role has been public, so that changes things. So yeah, please continue to not dox yourself, to protect yourself and not dox yourself. And that's also a healthy thing why some might also not put their face on and have an avatar and do all of those things for other reasons, like especially some of the females that are in streaming do things like that.
Right. That's a very important thing, in my opinion, is privacy. Like one of my dear friends, Twin Movie 96, she is amazing. She's an amazing woman, like one of the most godly women I have ever met. And she does such a great job at balancing her internet life and her public IRL life.
Yeah.
And if only I had her talent to be as creative and funny and Christ-like as she is.
Well, we're all exactly who God created us to be, so we're not supposed to be like everybody else. So
right.
Before we interrupt, we sidetracked in a rabbit trail there on the doxing. You were talking about connecting with a friend and staying connected through the week before you were able to go in person.
Yes. So I was able to stay connected with him. He had given me some scripture to read and to kind of he wanted me to take some notes on my observations of it and get back to him and to have some conversation. That Sunday comes and I'm like, okay, like I'm getting ready for church for the first time in 5 months. Like this feels weird. I threw on the best clothes that I had. I drove my gas guzzler of a truck the hour and 10 minutes to this church, which took a quarter of my tank to do. And I get there and I walk in the front door and almost overwhelming sense of calm just kind of hit me. Like it was so overwhelming. It was like almost annoying. It was like, why am I so relaxed? Like it feels so good. Something's almost wrong. And they had a welcome team and they were like, hello, welcome to our church. And is this your first time here? I'm like, yes, Steve invited me. And they go, oh, we love Steve. And I'm like, well, that's good. I'm glad that he's known here and he's not just another face among faces.
Right.
And so they were in the middle of worship. I showed up a little late because I didn't account for how much time it was actually going to take to get there. And so I walk in the sanctuary and I kind of just sitting in the back up against the wall and I'm trying to look for Steve. Well, I see Lisa on stage playing in worship and I know she sees me, but she can't tell me where Steve is because she's in the middle of playing a violin. And I know she sees me and she knows that I know. And there's nothing that either of us can do about it. And so this guy walks up and his name, we'll call him Chad. He comes up to me and goes, hey, can I help you find a spot? I'm like, yeah, I'm looking for Steve. And he goes, oh, well, I saw him. I just don't know where he is. Let me go see if I can find him.
Yeah.
And so this guy walks from end to end of the sanctuary like multiple times trying to find Steve. And then I think I was like, oh, wait, is that him? And I finally spot him and I walk up and I sit next to him. I listen to the sermon. This pastor preaches almost identical to the pastor that I had in New York. He has the same energy. He has the same cadence.
That's interesting.
And it's like, oh my gosh. Like I just found the Midwest version of my pastor. Like this has to be the place. And sermon was amazing. It was probably the first sermon in years that I actually sat through and paid attention to. And wasn't just like on my phone, just like, okay, yep, I'm here at church. I'm doing the thing. Because let me be clear, as much as I had walked away from God in those like 6 months after trying to find a church, I struggled hard with being able to sit down and pay attention to a sermon. Not only just because I wasn't the best Christian that I could be, but ADHD really makes life interesting. So it's a lot of ooh shiny and man, I've been sitting here for 30 seconds, I'm bored.
Right. Totally get that.
But I felt so refreshed after that sermon. And everything's wrapping up. He dismisses us and I'm getting ready to go home. And Steve goes, well, stick around for a little bit and I can introduce you to some people that might have some interests that you might share. I'm like, okay. So I met a few other people. I met one of his old roommates and I'm getting ready to leave. And so I'm walking out the front door with him because I'm just sticking with my friend because that's the thing that I do is I stick with the person that I know until I'm more comfortable in the area. And I walk outside and these people are setting up to take their 35-year church anniversary photo. So on my very first Sunday in this church, I am smack dab in the first row of their anniversary photo.
They didn't ask you to just step aside while they did this? They invited
Nope.
you in?
They invited me in on my very first Sunday there. And I looked at Steve and I'm like, crap, man. He goes, what? I'm like, I'm in the picture. Now I have to come here. And he goes, you know what? You're right. You do have to come here. And ever since then, I've been going pretty regularly. Was going every Sunday, and then past few months have had some serious events going on in my life that I had stepped away from. But I've been meeting with my buddy Jay Freak from NYTxSaber. I'm sure some of you in here might know him. And then I've been meeting with Mark from Digital that Annika and Samus got me involved in. And Quiz King, I'm telling you, dude, it was a first day of first days. Like, it was crazy. But I'm as crazy as it was, I am still so thankful for it. But yeah, so all that leading into me going, I miss streaming. I miss creating that content. I miss that interaction with people because that's where I thrive. How can I do this how can I do this with the Christian approach that other people have done? And so I talked with some friends. I talked with the pastor at my church, and I was still part of the Cross to Crown community at that point. So I was like, I talked to one of them. He was a Bible student at a college. I think it was in Indiana, I think he said. Yeah. And he was like, why don't we do a podcast?
Okay.
And I was like, that's genius. He goes, well, if you want to do it, it can be your thing, and I can help you out with it for a little bit, just to help you get started. I'm like, that's awesome. So I'm like, all right, what do I want to call this thing? I'm like, I'm looking through Spotify, and I'm like, all right, this is this Christian podcast name, this is this Christian's podcast name. Like, wow, these are super generic. There's 60 of them with the same name. I was taking the reach approach before I even knew reach existed. I was like, how can I make myself stand out in this? And I was like, well, the thing I want to do is I want to talk to other content creators, and I want to have them share their stories. And I'm like, that's not very typical of how people do things on podcasts. And I'm like, oh my gosh, there it is. And Grant goes, what? I'm like, it's not your typical Christian podcast. And so we started. This was when I was like heavy into Microsoft Paint and Canva, and I was making all these logos for people. And so I spent this was probably a very unhealthy decision, but I spent like the next 12 hours just going through and trying to design a logo that I thought was aesthetically pleasing to myself, but to look at.
I think you did. I mean, it was on the little flyer for the podcast here, and I'm like, ooh, I really like that.
Yeah, thank you. That means a lot. Let me see if I can.
Well, I'm gonna. I have it somewhere. I have it in Canva is where I have it, actually. Oh, you know what? Let me do this. So I can do it right here. Give me a second. I'll show it on screen. It's actually in the photo I'm using on screen. So let me just... There it is. There's the logo. Not your average Christian podcast. So those that are watching this and not just listening will be able to see that. Let me blow it up a little bit bigger, and I'll cover myself for a second. There you go. Not your typical Christian podcast with a little fish logo with the 3 crosses in the middle of it and the microphone, which I think is pretty cool. All right. Now I'll slide that back.
Yeah.
Who knew you were going to get this in the middle of a podcast, right?
Yeah, really. Who'd have thunk?
On the fly. I mean, we're on Twitch, so those people on Twitch will know this is a normal thing that you just do in the middle of something. You just go, oh, yeah, I can do that. And now we'll put you back to cover up the spot where the guest
Yeah, Quiz.
is.
Lux is really cool. I've been really enjoying being a part of that community, and I am so thankful to Samus and Annika for getting me involved in that. I'm so thankful to Sam. I'm going to rant about Samus for a second.
There we go.
I'm so thankful to her for so much. She has opened my eyes to so many different things about not only just like mental health, but physical health, and gotten me involved with so many other people that I'm so thankful and happy to call friends. And if I attribute most of my progress in my faith and in my health, I attribute most of that to her. So
Awesome.
ukulele, I met ukulele through her. I met Christian Ninja through her. I met Quiz King through her and through Challengers.
All of those that you just mentioned are connected with Taco. Absolutely going to connect with all of those. And that's fascinating on that level, because you never know who's the connecting element to bring you into community and enmesh you in community. And I'm just going to say this, like all of those, we need to clip all that you just said and send it to Samus, because I'm trying to get Samus on, and Samus is like, I don't know what I would say, and I don't think I could do a podcast, and I have nothing to add. And I'm like, you have so much, and I want to get her on. So I need to clip that and send it to her and say, see, you need to be on the podcast with me. So
Yes, I love that woman so much. She is an amazing person and an even better friend. Yeah, I could rant about her for hours. But so we started with, so my very first guest in the podcast was Aki.
Cool.
The very first episode, everybody who does content, I think most of the people in here are creators with Quiz and Ukulele, and I don't know who else might be lurking. But every content creator knows that very first piece of content they put out is arguably their worst piece of content ever.
Right.
I did the episode with Aki on stream. This was through an Xbox call, an Xbox chat. And so this was through the Chromebook to the Xbox to my TV. So it was pulling the screen off of my TV. And I didn't have any webcam stuff set up. So it was, all right, well, I want to have something on in the background for people to watch. I still have zero editing experience. So it was going to be a copy paste of the VOD to YouTube. Well, when you play PowerWash Simulator while you're talking to someone, you need to turn all of the volume down or may as well off. Because, fun fact, PowerWash Simulator is a very loud game. Maybe one of the loudest games I've ever played. And for most of that podcast, you can hardly hear our conversation. Until I scrubbed it and had it edited and had a friend edit it so I could put it up on Spotify.
Okay.
It actually was so bad that I had to like re-edit the YouTube one too.
Yeah. Well, yes. I wish on some level early on I had been saving all the podcasts, because they were like, oh, you could save them. I didn't know at some point they were going to delete them from Twitch, so I don't have some of those early ones. But yeah, you're right. And on some level, you hope it's true that your first episode is your worst one you ever do, because you want to get better from there. If that's the best one you ever do, like, then you didn't need to do a second one.
Right. Like if it's the best piece you ever put out, then congratulations, you have won content creation.
You have won content, and now you're done. Yes.
You've won and you've done. You did it and you're done. You are the one-hit wonder of content creation. But so I got him involved in that, and I'm sure, I don't know if you maybe met him at Reach. His name is his username is Red Veal. I've known this kid for about 5 years, and I'm how he met Aki, because he was modding for me on that stream.
Okay.
And I had Aki's socials. I had his pillar as a clickable link in the chat.
Right.
And since I couldn't type in those commands, I had to have someone do it for me. And I was like, hey, Red, if I mod you, could you help me do this and post these commands and these links during this thing that I'm doing? And he's like, absolutely. So because of me, Red met Aki and has gotten involved in this community that was involved in. And now Red is modding for Aki.
Very cool.
And he's almost, if not more, involved in that community than I am. And it's amazing to see that someone that I met from Cross to Crown, followed me to my own stuff,
Yeah.
and then followed me to Aki, and is now doing his own thing with Aki and doing his own streams. And it's just so cool to see, because I mean, I met Red when he was like 14 or 15.
Okay.
And now he's 20.
You know,
it's like,
that's just one of the really cool things that, and I don't know if we've fully highlighted it as well as you just did here, of what is happening in, and not all of it, but I would say the majority of digital ministry, and specifically in gaming, is this kingdom over castle, which could absolutely go the opposite direction. Like, if I'm on YouTube, I don't want to promote anyone else's YouTube channel, because then it means you're watching them instead of me.
Right.
But in the Christian space right now, I would say the bulk of it is we're sharing people with each other. Like the people that are in Taco, some of them are connected with Lux, as you mentioned. Some are connected with XB Church. There's other places that they're connected with too, with Pastor G's church. I'm blanking on the name of it, but somebody else will mention it. Or North Hill Live. There's multiple spots where they can reside, but they're not like the church you were mentioning of, we understand you're attending elsewhere. You need to renounce them or renounce us, and you can't have both. It's like, no, we're part of the body, and those are just expressions of it where people gather. Thank you, Ukulele. Let's Innovate Church with Pastor G. Thank you. It was on in my brain. I could see the logo, and I couldn't read it. So God is doing some amazing things, and I did not know we're going to go through all this with the story. This is the thing of open-ended questions. Like, tell me what God's laying on your heart right now to share. So I'm so thankful that you went through and shared that journey, because there's probably someone else that needs to listen to this that has gone through similar things of, I don't know where I belong. I don't feel like I belong. I'm not angry with God. I just can't find his presence in the places I've been looking. And I can't find people loving me in the way that I feel his love actually reaching me. And where can I find that?
Right. And that kind of brings me into like a segue. So like what's been happening recently, like I'm talking like even as much as last night in Twin's Discord server, Twin Movie, who I was referencing earlier, we have had I'm actually going to check. We have had an active Discord call that has been going for 755 hours and 46 minutes right now.
Okay. You gotta back up and talk. How did this start, and how is it ongoing? I mean, I got an idea, but the audience is not going to necessarily understand this. Okay, the gamers will. Anyone who's peripheral is going to go, "What are you talking about?" So it's in Discord.
Yes, it's in Discord.
Like anybody that's watching right now, you can go into Discord and have a video or voice channel and go in there for a conversation. So if you thought about that, if you understand Zoom, you can do that within Discord, set up a call, and so it's been ongoing. So why?
So whereas like in Zoom or Skype or anything like that, with a Discord server, for those of you who might not know, a Discord server, those voice channels or calls are public to anybody who's in that server. So no one it's not like a private phone call, but it's where multiple people can just come and go as they please.
Well, and you can have some privacy around it if you have privacy to join the server or privacy for the channel. You have it so that if people are in the server, which like right now, theChurch.digital, I think we might have 600. I might be wrong on that. But if we have 600 people in the server, all of them would be able to jump into that call.
Right. So Twin, who is a streamer, she streams often later at night. So one time she ended early and she was like, "Hey guys, I'm going to go hang out in the Discord and we're going to watch a movie."
Okay.
And I was like, that sounds fun. I was in her chat. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'll go do this. This was after Reach. And we can get into Reach later, like you said.
Yeah.
And I was like, we were in there, we were watching the movie. Well, what ended up happening was myself, Twin, and a couple of the other people that were in there, including the gentleman who was streaming the movie, we had all fallen asleep watching this movie. So we woke up and the call was still going. Discord recently added an update, I want to say about a month ago, to where they add a timer
Okay.
They've added a timer to your call so you can see how long someone's been in a call.
Right.
Or a call has been quote unquote active. Well, I decided to be like, hey, what's the longest we can go? What's the world record? So I
love
Googled
that.
what is the world record for the longest active Discord call. Now, I need to preface that Google led me astray because I read the wrong information. The information I was reading was about the first record set, not the current. The first record set was set back in 2018, and the record was 728 hours of an active call. And I said, guys, we can do this. This is like 2 months of a call.
It's just 2 months of a call. We can do that.
We can probably make this work. And I recently found out, recently as in last night, the current world record for an active Discord call, 6,134 hours. So we don't know if we're going to get quite there, but this attempt had been going because we were going to try to break what was this world record. And so because we're in this call, we've been in this call so long, and it's been in just a specific group of us. It's a public VC. It's her public VC for her server.
Right.
So anybody can join that's in her server. Anybody can join her server that has the link. What defines an active call? Active call is people actively talking in it versus where, like, if you're part of like Assassinator Steph's server, she has the lo-fi bot that is perpetually in a call just playing music. It's not a bot, it's an actual person. So people are in, so it's like it's an actual person's account that's in there, and people are talking or doing things. So right now they're in there and someone's streaming something on their screen. I think it's just a 24-hour live stream or something. That's what kind of defines like an active call, is that people are coming and going, and it's not just a bot sitting in there by itself. Because if that was the case, then Assassinator Steph would be on track, because that lo-fi bot has been in its specific VC for like 2,000 hours. But because we've been doing this, and Twin likes to pray at the end of her streams, and since we've been together and we've been sleeping in there with each other, we go, well, why don't we just do prayer in here with everyone who's in the call? And we were all like, oh, well, that's a great idea. Like, why not? We can take prayer requests and we can make it a thing and kind of make it like a routine. And then, so we're doing that. And then as of late, like the past like 3 days, Twin has asked me to lead devotionals in there, which, again, I am beyond blessed. Like, I'm so happy to do this for her, and just to kind of stick my foot in the door as having a little bit of
that's super cool
place in the community and feeling that sense of purpose. And it started with me at the tail end of one of the plans on YouVersion that I was going through called Winning the War in Your Mind. And then the one we're doing now is Hope in the Dark. Hope in the Dark is the one we're doing now. It's a plan by the same guy who did Winning the War in Your Mind. And I can't think of his name for the life of me, and it's bothering me, so I'm looking right now. It is by Craig Rochelle.
Okay, yeah.
Because of that, and because of how, Twin, I love you, but holy crap, you stream late. Because of how late she streams, we're often up until like 1, 2 in the morning, my time, which for 3 of us that are in there, they're on Eastern Standard, so that's 2 o'clock, 3 in the morning for them. Well, because of that, I was up super late last night, and often when I'm just bored, I'll scroll through the Christian tag on Twitch, and I found someone playing Destiny 2. And I'm like, okay, I'll check them out. They only have like 10 people watching, so they're probably around my size or so, maybe a little bigger. Her channel's about double my size, give or take, and she was playing, and I noticed she didn't have specifically the Christian tag in her stream, but she had family and friendly community, but in her title, in the word in parentheses was the word devotional.
Oh.
And I'm like, okay, I'm going to ask her a question. So I said, hey, I'm sorry if this isn't allowed, because I want to be polite. You'll always be polite in someone else's chat, especially when you're brand new there. I said, sorry if this isn't allowed, but are you a Christian? I see devotional in your title. I apologize if that's not a question you want discussed in chat. And it was kind of funny. Someone had rated her after I sent that message, so that chat got pushed up as not being the most recent chat. So she missed it. And I thought she was just choosing to ignore it. I just hit my mic. I thought she was choosing to ignore it. So I said, I apologize if my previous question just made you uncomfortable or wasn't allowed in here. Won't happen again. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, no. What was your question? So I scrolled back up and I copied it and I replied to it so she could see it again. And she then explained that she was a Christian. She was very open about her faith. And I don't know, it was God pressing me. I love saying I don't know what it was, but I always know it's God. But I was like, wow, that's so cool. She was sharing a little bit. Like, I just said, I was like, hey, one night when you stream, I'd love to hear your testimony. Like, just hear your story.
Yeah.
Because she had mentioned that she was like a devout atheist before she became a Christian. And she goes, oh, well, sure, I'll share it right after this game. And I'm like, okay, I wasn't ready for that, but okay. And I was like, well, if she's going to share her testimony, I'm not hearing it because of ads. Like, I'm so might have been one of the fastest subscriptions I've ever done in my life.
That is cool. That is cool. I love that.
And she got to share. She spent the next like 45 minutes sharing her testimony. And God has done such amazing things in this woman's life. But the big thing that she talked about that I noticed, because I feel myself trying to do the same, is she does not exclude anybody from her community.
Right.
She does not care if you're not a Christian. She doesn't care if you're what denomination you are. She doesn't care if you're like Catholic or Lutheran or something else, or really completely believe another religion. Her main goal, which coincides with so many other people I know on this space, her primary goal is just to be the positive note in somebody's day. Just to be the person that somebody needs to see, just to feel a little bit better about their day. And that people who that is their aspiration in their content creation, that means so much to me, because I was that person at one point in time.
Right.
Because if it wasn't for Chris from Cross to Crown,
Mm-hmm.
I would never, ever would have been involved in this space. And that's, it's so powerful. And it means so much that she took the time out of her stream to share her testimony, because some random dude jumped in her chat and asked her if she was a Christian.
Yeah.
And when she ended it, she goes, Saber, I am so thankful that you asked that question, because even my testimony, as different and specific to me as it is, could be just enough for someone to start asking their own questions and dive a little deeper for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
No, and it's so heartwarming just to know that I could have helped contribute to bringing someone a little bit of joy in a dark day.
I think you're right that there's a lot of us that hope to do that, among the other things. So whether that's our primary focus or part of what we're hoping to do is to bring some amount of joy, love, peace, whatever fruit of the Spirit is our forward-leaning piece to the space, to contribute so that somebody's day does turn out better. It's absolutely one of the things. That's why I think I focus on the imagery of being salt and light, because salt is either going to make something better or light is going to shine something on it, whichever you need. If you need your light brightened, your life brightened up, you need your life salted so that there's something of value and additional to it. So yeah, that's just, I think, a big piece of where a lot of us in this space are. That's just really cool, having that connection, which brings kind of full circle of, hey, this is a game I love. Hey, I found Aki here. Hey, now you've been brought to someone else in that same way. I can't wait to hear where that all ends up.
Yeah, I'm I am so just excited to see where it goes.
We've kind of talked a little bit about this, so I'm going to go here rather than, I often will talk about some of the obstacles you've overcome. You talked about a lot of the personal ones, not as streamer, but we'll come back to that in a minute. But since we're already talking in regards to this, and you've kind of already been answering it, is what are some blessings that you have encountered being a streamer? And you've been talking about a lot of blessings of relationship that you've encountered and meeting people and those kinds of things. Let's just stay on that vein. What are some individuals that you have been able to impact? Because we've been talking about a lot of that have had impact on you. What are some other people you've been able to contribute or be a blessing in the moment for them, or contribute to an ongoing relationship that has you've seen just God move in a really cool way?
Yeah. Also, I apologize if you can hear my dog in the background. He's chewing his deer antler, and every time he does, I see my mic pick it up, and he's sitting directly behind me.
Well, hopefully in post-production, I'll be able to mute the background, and that won't be there.
So I sincerely apologize for that. But I think one of the coolest things, and it happened recently, I was at a Christmas party for my small group from my church, and I was talking to somebody, I was talking to my pastor about Venture AI, which I talked about on my 12-hour.
Yep.
And because I had just talked about it for 2 hours that night.
So before you go into that, let me just preface what Venture AI is.
Yeah.
So a friend of mine and his wife, who used to work for Crew, have gone out to do some other ventures on their own, where he wants to use his technical skills in creating resources in discipleship. So they have created an AI discipleship coach, and they showed it to us at Reach Conference. I already knew him in advance of that. I've known him probably for 3-4 years and been able to watch part of his journey and where he's going. So he has invited streamers to use it, to play with it, and to break it, find out where the problems are, but also do exploration with it. And so you brought it on your stream and did a promo for it. I used it on my stream last week, spent 2 hours playing with it on stream. I'm going to do it again tomorrow. So if you're here live, you want to come back on my stream tomorrow, I'll be doing the same thing there. So it is a developing AI coach for discipleship, to be able to do daily check-ins and then be able to add other things where you can ask it specific questions and it will coach you through and give you resources. We had some really cool conversations in my stream about that. So that's what it is. And if you want more info, DM one of us about it. We'll tell you more about it.
Yeah, gladly. But yeah, so I was telling my pastor about it, and because they gave me the invite code and the onboarding link. And they said, share it with anybody that you think would be interested in testing it out. Yep. And so I was like, oh, well, I'm at a Christmas party with my pastor who does a lot of tech work. I'm going to give it to him because I bet you he would be interested in messing around with it. So that sparked, oh, well, where did this come from? Oh, I got it from a guy that I met through someone at Reach because I saw a promo for it. What's Reach? And then I got to explain what Reach is. And then this other guy who's in our group, in our small group, asked me what Reach was, and I explained to him what it was. And the description I like to give for Reach, because as much as I love Romans, the website doesn't really do a great job explaining what Reach does. But Reach, the conference itself, the bare bones description I can give it is a gaming convention put on by Christians for everyone. And it helps, and there are tools to help content creators grow in their avenues. And he goes, well, that's really cool. So I take it you are a content creator then? And I said, yes, I am, which is probably the first time that I've actually said yes to that question, because I didn't want to go through the conversation of, no, I don't feel like one because of X, Y, and Z.
Right.
And I spent the next 40 minutes talking to this guy about how online mission works, and he was astonished that he had never heard of it.
Right.
And he's never seen anything like it. And he's like, so what? Like, he just kept asking me question after question after question.
That's so cool.
And God just kept giving me answer after answer after answer. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is the most that I've talked about this ever. And how am I coming up with these answers? And like in the moment, that's how I was. And he goes, well, that's really cool. I think I'm going to check this out, and I'm going to show some of my friends just about this, because I know a lot of them are online, and I don't think they know about any of this stuff. And I'm like, wow, I just planted a seed.
Yeah.
That'll be the first time I think I've ever been aware of me actually doing that.
That's super cool.
And I felt so, I didn't feel, let me preface, I didn't feel good about myself. Like, I wasn't prideful, but I just felt good.
Yeah.
Like, I felt in the moment, I felt present, I felt strong in what I believed in.
Well,
and it was all just coming from having just shared all this information with this guy.
I'm going to say one thing that sounds like was really helpful in that conversation was his genuine curiosity around it.
Yes.
Because I know for a number of people, and I don't know if this is fully true of you, but if you share it with your pastor or someone in a level that you respect and they downplay what you are doing, you are less likely to have conversations about what you are doing. You're going to just say, it's not worth it to talk about it here. Yeah, if someone asks me, I'll say, yep, I do that. And then I'll quickly get out of the conversation about that as quickly as I can, because I don't want to feel bad at the end of a conversation about what God's called me into doing. So I just avoid conversations and I don't have to feel bad.
Right, right.
Or even if it's just, people with a lot of confused look on their face and go, well, that's good for you, but that doesn't really feel good either. So I could see where you were genuinely in the moment. And there's also, and I think you alluded to this, an edge of growing into that God has been doing in you in the last year.
Yeah. And I really want to say that a lot of this recent growth has stemmed from the interactions that I've had at Reach Conference.
So just to clarify, from the event itself or in the Discord server up to that, or is this just the event and then following?
I will say this, being in the server helps because it's where the connections can stay established.
Right.
But the event itself,
yeah,
there was, to me specifically, there was something so special about that I felt so overwhelmed with the presence of Christ and felt so much stuff led to just push further and take steps in my faith that I had never felt the urge or had the courage to take before. And the worship night on night of day 2 might have been the most, I'm trying to think of the word, most monumental experience of my current lifetime.
Yeah.
Because,
and I'll just say, not for you alone. Not for you.
And not for me alone. I mean, I know I was very present to how I was in the moment. I wasn't very present to how others were around me at certain spots. But during the songs, it felt like every single one of them was calling me out for my past behaviors and how I've done stuff in the church and how I've been a quote unquote Christian as opposed to a Christian. And I think the first song I was okay, but towards the end of that one and the beginning of the second one, I don't think my eyes were dry for the rest of that night. And when the guy who was leading worship, Chi-Chi, when he did an altar call, I walked up to Flat Cap and just dumped some burdens on him, and we prayed. Well, I cried.
Well, let's back that up, because I've shared this on my stream. I've shared it in a few places, but I want to say that was one of the most powerful, impactful worships I've ever been at, from a totally different point of view than I've ever experienced. Not the worship piece in the way that what you were experiencing. I've done that before. But when you came up to me, and we've been on a podcast together, and I'd realized this when we got to Reach, when I suddenly had one-on-one conversations with people, it's, hey, wait a minute, there's a bunch of people I've never had a one-on-one conversation with. I've only ever been in a group with them. And so we'd had conversations, but I don't think we ever had a one-on-one conversation. And when you
No.
came up, and I knew you were moved, and I could see it on you, and yeah, you had the tears there. You went to go to embrace, and you just hugged me for like 5 minutes before you were even
Yep.
able to speak. Oh my goodness. Like most of the time when people come up, it's quick, say what it is, try to get it all out, and a quick prayer and go away. And you were just like full on embrace. And it was just like, oh my goodness, you just needed the hug. You needed this. And if we don't even pray, this was what was needed in this moment. And it was so awesome. And I don't know if you noticed after you left, the next 4 or 5 people, however many people came up, they did exactly the same thing that you did. When they came up to me, we hugged for a good 2-3 minutes, and then they would share whatever it was, and we would spend time in prayer. It was just like this. I've never experienced that. I've never had a prayer time with people coming up who needed prayer. They needed a hug. They needed that physical interaction. They needed to presently be embraced and held in the moment that they were at. It was just so powerful. And I don't know if you established that and everyone else said, I want a part of that and I want to do that too. I'm saying you did. That's what I'm saying. And I was like, oh my goodness, that was the best ever on my side of feeling like I was there. And I was like, I did not know how much I needed those hugs too. It was just like, so I was in tears at the end, and I still get a little teared reflecting on it. Because, like, at most, when I would be in a normal church where I was the pastor, you come up, there's an embrace, I know you, you share what's going on, I give you a hug at the end. Those are all about 10-second hugs at max, a good hug, and you move on. Not a just, like, I swear, your hug was 5 minutes, man. It was so good. It was just like, and then when we tried to talk, so you got to picture this. We're like trying to just whisper in the ear because we're not going to quit hugging at this point. We're just going to keep hugging and have this conversation. Also, it was easier to talk in each other's ear because the worship was still going on too.
Yeah. No, that was definitely that definitely added to the catalyst of what Reach did for me.
Yeah, it was so good. So I didn't mean to interrupt where your thought was going.
No, that's a good interrupt.
With that, but it was like I knew if we got into this, I was going to share that. I'm like, I just had to, because it was such a blessing on my side of being there, that as the person that often is, praying for others, you don't always feel that reciprocation in the moment. I mean, God's there and all of that, but you don't always feel that. Wow, I was blessed in this moment in the same way because I got to experience that. And I don't know if the other pastors had similar experiences entirely. I don't know if I'm sure they did not get as many hugs as I did. I'm going to claim that I got the most hugs of any pastors, especially knowing that Pastor Dustin does not like hugs, and he was counting how many total hugs he had, and he had a limit that he was going to cap it. So anyway, going back to, you were talking about coming up and God just meeting you right there in the middle of worship.
Yeah. Iron Man, thank you for that hydrate. I have not drank any of my water that I have sitting next to me.
Oh, well, I'm constantly. So yeah, let's take a hydrate there. I do have on my regular channel a spot of tea that people can claim. I have not put it on this channel. Maybe I should put it there or put a hydrate on here. But I don't frankly need it as much as most people. I constantly am sipping. And right now I have turmeric ginger tea that I just switched over. So this one was my Earl Grey from this morning. And now I am to my turmeric ginger afternoon tea.
Side note, my friend and her husband get tea from a farmer's marketplace that decided to open up like a little online store.
Very cool.
That you can. It's weird how it works. It's like an online store that you don't pay for it until you get to the actual place because they have to make it. So what you do is, on the online store, you pay 10% of the cost through Venmo.
Yeah.
And then that's like your down payment, and then you actually go to the physical store and pick up the bag when it's ready and pay the rest in card or cash.
Fascinating. Never.
It's interesting. It's like a down payment on tea.
Yeah.
But one of the teas that they got was a honey pepper tea, and it was so so
Okay.
good.
Okay. If I can't have that shipped to me, I may have to have you go get that. That just sounds fascinating. I've never even thought of honey pepper. That sounds so good.
I'll have to ask her if she's still able to get it.
Yeah.
Gives you an excuse to come out here and come see me on all your travel.
Or bring it to Reach next year,
That too. No, I'm talking like black pepper ukulele. So it's honey and black pepper.
Yeah, like the OG pepper, not the spicy chili.
Yeah. And I don't know what it is about it, but it just works. The flavor, the vast differences in flavor just blends so well.
Well,
especially when it's a warm tea.
Just to throw this out there, because I'm always experimenting with something new and learning. So I am just in the process of fermenting honey for the first time. So I got, I think 2 weeks ago, new jars for new lids for fermentation to ferment in jars. So you take honey and you put garlic and onions in it, and it will leach out of the garlic and out of the onions all of the healthy things that are within those, and then put it within the honey. And the reason I started doing that, because I've had this cough since Reach that it just will not go away, and I was looking for something more home remedy than continually popping cough drops that I could try to do. And that's one of the things that was recommended is fermented honey. Now, you could just do it with garlic or onions, and it's pretty good. It will make the honey a lot more liquidy instead of thick, but it's got a pretty good zest to the honey, so that's pretty good.
That sounds really good. I'm going to have to see about trying that.
It's not super hard. However, I had to put a plate underneath the jar because the honey was still leaking out of it. It could make its way out from the jar. So, but I'm always trying to learn and grow in multiple areas, not just being better in the Bible, not just being better as a streamer, but anything that improves my health or other places that I can be learning. Like one person, like totally random here, and we'll get back to the topic at hand. I've started following a person that talks about when you were born, what was happening gestation-wise as far as the magnetic field of the earth, the amount of daylight that's happening, and then the attributes that people born in those months have. And it's just fascinating learning those things. Of course, I think he doesn't put this out there, but I think it's northern hemisphere only, because it would be the opposite if you were in the southern hemisphere. But just some of the things that the attributes that people in those months have, which the month I'm born in, because of the daylight that's there and all of that, and the magnetic field, people born in the month I was born in have a natural GPS born into them where they always know where north is. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's right there. I know where it is. You can put me out in the middle of the woods and I know where north is. I never have that problem. Like, people will ask me directions, or I'll have been there one time in the dark and I can find my way back to that place, having only ever been there one time.
Yeah, no, I get that. I wish I had that sense of direction.
My wife does too. She's got to pull the GPS up, even if she's been there multiple times, to be able to make sure she's going to the right place.
Yeah.
And anyway, back to, we were talking about worship and Reach. So I don't know if you're finished with talking about worship and the impact it had on you.
Yeah, so I was getting to the point I was going to make with that. I have always been the kind of person that has been, I'm going to listen to the type of music that I like and not really think or care about what it might mean. And I found myself after Reach paying so much more attention to that.
Okay.
And wanting to be more just mindful with what I'm listening to. I got the Reach set list from my friend Matt, who was running the sound stuff at Reach.
Yeah.
And I put those into a playlist, and I have been listening to those songs on that playlist on repeat for probably a good
month.
I don't know, almost month now.
Yeah.
And I have to try so hard not to well up every time I hear the songs, because I was just such a mess at that worship night. And just everything after has been such acts of God that I've been taking, these steps that I've been taking forward. And it's just, if you are watching and you did not go and you're contemplating going, even if you're not contemplating going, I so strongly encourage you to do your best to go. It is an experience that will change your life in more ways than you can count. Not to mention having the friendships that you've fostered online be cemented in person
Yeah.
is such an otherworldly feeling that it's something I wish everybody could experience.
It's definitely the depth at which your friendships online is multiplied when you gather together in person. And then not only that, but you are gathering together with multiple people that you know online and getting together. It's so fantastic on that level, more than any other conference. It does that. And it's not that other conferences aren't good, and you can have friendships in that way, but you're not all creators. I think Ukulele was saying, as a Christian creator, seeing so many Christian creators in one space was a game changer. Got it work. And I'm not going to downplay other conferences I've been to. I've been to Exponential Conference multiple times, and I go, pretty much every year. It's a church planting conference. But I'm not doing ministry side by side with most of the people there. I don't know most of the people there. Well, this year I didn't know most of the people at Reach, but I knew most of the people who were on stage and who were bringing their communities together or were leading the side things that were going on. I know a lot of people there, and I know a lot of people at NCMS, which I'm going to be at. But NCMS is not all Christian content creators. Board gamers, and there's people leading ministry in their church that I'll never know and talk to other than when we get together. So it's these ongoing pieces that is so powerful at Reach. And also Reach has multiple things happening at the same time. There is so many things going on. There is something for everyone, and there are lots of things you're going to miss. And I don't know how many conversations you had, but I think I went to a lot of content on day one, skipped a little bit here and there because I was in conversations. Day two, I don't want to say pretended, but I tried to initiate to go to events that were happening, and then I'd go out to the hall for a minute, and then I'd end up in conversation and never making it back. To the third day, just not even trying to make it to anything. I just stood and you said, where's the next conversation I'm supposed to have, which is normally what I do at conferences. I don't go to the main sessions. I have conversations with people, and I had, my goodness, I think one conversation I had was a 3 or 4 hour conversation. It just went on, and people came in and left, and the conversation never ended, like you were talking about with your Discord chat.
Yeah, but yeah, Reach is going to be a permanently super special thing that I'm going to move heaven and earth to make sure that I can be at it.
Yeah. Well, even to talk through that, like the first year, I was on board right away with it because I was already planning on doing an alpha in my community. And part of it was, hey, do you want to do alpha? When Romans pitched that, I go, I'm on board. I'm already planning to do that. So this is an easy yes, no problem. And I knew a bunch of the people that were there. So it's like, yeah, I'll be there. And so, accomplish the set for streamers to be able to get their free tickets. And I went, great, I don't have all my tickets covered. Yay. Because, being a streamer, you don't always have all of the money to cover stuff if you don't have another job that's going to pay for all of those things. And then this year, I did the 90-day Helldiver Challenge. And by the way, the trophy is right there if anyone's looking for it.
I see that.
Which is going to get painted on stream at some point. Maybe for Streamiversary or Affiliateversary in February, it might get painted on stream. So I did that and earned a free ticket. I also had a free ticket to give away to someone in my community. And so it's like, oh, when the tickets went on sale, I go, oh, I'll earn a free ticket for next year. And we were chatting about that, and the deal of half price tickets. I'm like, oh my goodness, like there's never going to be an opportunity to do that again. So I'm like, oh, I'll buy my ticket, and then I could just give it away. And then I started telling people, hey, maybe you should just buy tickets to give away for your stream anniversary and affiliate anniversary. And then, Holy Spirit's nudging me and going, and you could do that too. So,
Yep.
so I don't know when you're listening to this. This should be out on the podcast realm world in January. So come February, I will be doing my affiliate anniversary, which is February 14, by the way. Valentine's Day is my affiliate anniversary, which is kind of a cool date.
You gotta love that.
So I will be affiliate somewhere in that week. You'll have a chance to win a ticket to Reach Conference. So as we're talking about it and you're saying you don't know if you can make it or not, just mark that on your calendar. Come DM me, find out what it is. I'll have ads around. But if you need to win your ticket to go, show up in my stream sometime that week and you'll have a chance to win a ticket to go to Reach.
That's awesome.
So what have you been doing since Reach, or did you want to add more about some stuff that happened at Reach?
No, I think I'm going to leave that for the people to find out on their own, the stuff that happens at Reach.
Yeah.
Because it would be a shame to set something up and either things change or something else better happens. It'd be interesting to see.
Well, it's also one of those things where people will talk about it and go, well, you just had to be there because you can't fully describe what it was. And there is a piece of that is absolutely true, that there's some of Reach you will never know, and we can't explain it unless you're there.
And that's yeah, that's just special to the person.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, then what have you been what have you been doing in the month plus since Reach?
I would say, aside from doing stuff with work, it's been I'm taking a range safety officer certification class for work, which is nice. It'd be nice to have that certificate, help make things at work go a little smoother.
Yeah.
But the big thing that I'll say has been the primary focus has been getting to these people that I've been in this Discord call with. This is something that I want to talk about because it's special. One of the people that's in this call, or that's in that call, actually no, two of them. Two of the people that are in that call are two of the four people that gave their life to Christ at Reach.
Oh, awesome.
One is, she's very young. She's in her early 20s. And then the other gentleman is in his early 30s. So two very different demographics.
Yeah.
The other night, I'm so proud of her for this. Our friend Twin was doing an IRL stream, just chatting stream in her room. And my friend that's in this call that gave her life at Reach said, because we've been through a lot. We've become a family at this point, basically, where we'll have spits where we tick each other off to the point where we don't talk to each other for a few days. To the point where, and then we come back like 2 days later, like nothing ever happened, and just keep loving on each other. She goes, hey, Twin, you've been a huge part of my life. I'm so thankful that I met you. Hey, yes, Keels, it is about you. She goes,
I like how you didn't dox her either, that you let her dox herself.
Yeah, I'll let her do her. If she wants to share that information, that's on her. But she goes, I want to talk to you about baptism, but I also want you to be the one who baptizes me or is in the water with me when it happens.
Cool. Super cool.
She told me this. Well, I found out about this while I was streaming. I was so excited that she asked this question and so stupidly proud of her for asking this and taking that leap. I ended my stream. I was like, guys, something's going on. I gotta take care of this. This is way more important. I love you guys. I will see you guys later this week. I need to go take care of this. We're gonna raid out. I will talk to you guys later. And I go talk to her and I'm like, Keels, I am so proud of you. You have made you've taken such a huge step in your faith, and the work that God has been doing in your life and the changes he's been making and putting on your heart has been making me, as your friend, so genuinely happy to see. And I was to the point where like I was starting to tear up, and it didn't even involve me. Like I had nothing to do with this. And I just was so genuinely happy for her. And that has been seeing the growth and the changes everyone has been making since being in this Discord call has been so amazing to see. The Lord is doing so much in each of every one of us in there, whether it's just us someone being more open and being more transparent about something that they normally wouldn't share with someone choosing to read scripture that normally wouldn't want to read scripture. And the thing that he's been doing to me the biggest has been teaching me making me feel like I'm learning how to pray properly and getting more personal and connecting more. And as much as I don't encourage sitting in a Discord call for 700 hours. I'm going to preface, I don't encourage that. But I strongly encourage building that kind of relationship with friends that you can feel comfortable talking with them about anything.
Sorry, I'm just laughing about chat, and I figured I had to interrupt because Keel says, I don't either. Next message. But it's fun.
But it's fun.
But it's fun.
And that right there is why we love her.
Yes.
Because she'll be the first person to say, man, this isn't good for us, but I'm having a great time.
Send help, LOL.
Send help, Saint. Oh, love you both, guys.
But there's one of the things, like, if this is your first episode, thank you. Like, you're going to be blessed. You have been if you stuck to it to this point. But this is what online ministry is. If you think about when you have such dear friends, and whatever point that was in your life, if it was middle school, if it was high school, if it was when you got to college, that you wanted to spend every waking moment with that group that just understood you and embraced you and accepted you, that's what you can find in digital spaces. And those people that are lost and lonely are finding it here. And those people who aren't lost and lonely are also finding it in a way that they've not found in a deep way. And it's like, you don't want to be away from that group. You want to spend all the time together. So in that regard, the desire is healthy because you're finding healthy community to resonate with and be built up around. So I like, that's just cool. So if you don't understand that can happen digitally, it's something wonderful that is happening.
Yeah, and I couldn't have said it any better myself. Like, that is the best way I could put it.
Yeah, digital ministry being compared to high school in a good way. I'm only comparing it to the group you hung out with, not the rest of the high school cliques and all of that. Just that group that you finally, or college or middle school, wherever it is, and you're like, these are my people. I want to spend time with them, not with the other people. Although I will say, back in high school, I didn't hang with one group. I'm like, and I still am the same way today. Like, I am the person that knows the preps over there and hangs out with them. I'm the one that hangs out with the jocks over there. I'm the one that hangs out with the nerds over there. Like, I would never fully belong anywhere, but I would know and be connected with every one of those groups because of some reason. And it's like, that's still how I am. Like, I love Taco and I want to hang out there, and I love Lux Digital Church and XP Church and the Church.digital and a whole bunch of others. You fill in the blank. I know them and I want to hang out with them, and I don't have enough time in the day.
Yeah. Also, I did say it in chat, but welcome in Ellerind. They said this is their first episode.
Yeah, Ellerind, welcome in.
But yeah, this is where one of those things where having that online connection it fosters so much and is such a useful tool, not only for personal gain to have friendships and relationships, but to just spread the word of God and even utilize it better, because there's
that I just want to point out that is a part of what a lot of us are trying to do. That's a part of what Taco is trying to do. It's part of what Reach is trying to do. It's part of what the Church Digital is trying to do, is help people learn from each other and become better at what we're doing, whether that's learning how to better stream, if that's learning better how to do community in their Discord server, if it's learning how to think like a missionary. We're all trying to add components, and we're all a piece of that, and God's doing a whole bunch of things. It's really cool.
Yeah, it truly is, and it's been so inspiring to see that, just not only in myself, but in my friends and these people that I've known for so long, and even the people that I've known for so little.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, shoot, for crying out loud, I've only known Keels since, I want to say, late October. So barely 2 months. And same with Saint, maybe about that same time. And just seeing them grow as people, as my friends, makes me so happy. Not only just for them, but I'm happy that I get to be a part of it.
Absolutely. 100%. Well, that's one of the things that I will tell anybody this, and I really, really mean this. I am so excited that I am in this space, because I think 20 years from now, we are going to be in such a different space, and everyone who's here right now and everyone who's coming in the next 24 months are laying the foundation for everything that God is going to multiply in a way that he has not done since the book of Acts. And I see that, and I see the wind of the Spirit moving, and I am convinced of that. I mean, there's been points in ministry where I hoped it was that way. I wished it was that way. No, I'm 100%. I look around, and it's like we are in that first days of the book of Acts for what God is doing digitally, that we look back in 20 years, and we're going to go, wow, I got to witness all of that happen. And I'm glad I'm not just behind the pulpit anymore and not seeing what God is up to in the world. I get to see and participate in, like you're talking about, watching people's growth, watching people come to feel I can be a missionary and be used by God, watching people impact other people's lives and change their lives. It's such an amazing thing. And I'm like, man, I'm so glad I stumbled into this, and God opened the door, and then enough people kept telling me I needed to participate. It took a lot of people telling me that before I finally decided I could. So,
yeah, and I remember back when I was younger, back living in New York, I kind of had a passion to go into ministry.
yeah.
I'll be honest, I hate school. I hate it. I I took one semester of actual college and was like, you know what? This is miserable. I'm getting put in classes I don't want to be in, and I'm being classes I don't want to be in, and I have to pay for them. What's the point of this? I'm spending money on something I don't want. And
well, good for being wise enough to say no.
And it's like, well, I'm not going to deal with that. So you know what? I'm just going to pursue my passions. My passion at that time was culinary. So I went to a 2-year culinary school. It wasn't like a degree. It wasn't like an actual college, but I got certificates from them. I have certifications from them.
Wow. Okay. So
and
just so in case you didn't know, so the first episode of season 2, I had Annika's Cakery, so she has a culinary degree. So episode 2, I have someone with a culinary degree. Like, how long can I keep this up? Like, it's the culinary theme for season 2, apparently.
Yeah, let's keep that trend rolling.
Yeah.
But yeah, so being able to be in this space and interact with people and just have these fun conversations with either people in chat or over calls like with you, it makes me feel like I'm not achieving, but standing next to that dream I once had of being in a ministry field.
Yeah. Well, I'm convinced that God doesn't need currently more people that are seminary trained. He needs more people that are willing to share their faith. And he's preparing them. And they're saying yes. And they're not waiting for the church to give them permission. The same way that if we go read the book of Acts, you have the deacons who were put in a position to serve food. And the next 3 chapters are about them doing anything but serving food. We have no stories of, and Philip made sure that everybody got their portion of bread. No, we have Philip going and talking to the Ethiopian eunuch, and we have Stephen going out and sharing. And we like, it's just story after story of those 7 people going and doing something that wasn't what their job role was, but the Spirit moved them to go do stuff, and they didn't go, hey, can I go share the gospel? It was just like, yes, go. And they didn't go, well, thank you, Spirit. I need to go check with my pastor. I need to go check with the apostles and see if it's okay if I go share with the Ethiopian eunuch.
Right. That's just one thing that just makes me feel so blessed about this.
Well, it's leaning into the fact that in the book of Acts it says when they saw that these were untrained, uneducated men, that's what it was that amazed people about what they were up to. And I think that's going to be true in the digital space. It's not going to be me, the seminary trained person, that is going to amaze people. It is the other people just filled with the Spirit that are going to amaze and reach people.
Right. And that's just the thing is, like, even if you take it out of the Christianity realm, there are often times where somebody with the experience is more successful than the person with the qualifications or the degree.
Yes.
Because that person has a piece of paper that says that they can do this, but this person has the evidence that they can do this. And if you kind of twist it a little bit, that's kind of how we are. Like, some of us have not gone to seminary, and we don't have a degree, and we're not like titled pastors, but we are still in the mission field, and you don't need to be qualified to.
Well, if you are a follower of Jesus, you are qualified. Like,
right.
Straight up.
For the longest time, my dad had on the back of it, on his computer desktop, it was this thing that said, so-and-so did this, so-and-so did that, so-and-so killed these people, so-and-so committed adultery with this person.
Oh, yeah, I've seen
and then at the very bottom of it says, God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called.
Yes. Your qualifications are down under. Qualifications are down under. Sorry, I read that wrong. Shepherds were qualified to share the good news. They'd barely met baby Jesus. Well played, ukulele. I like that.
And so just thinking about it from that aspect of, you don't have to be a Christian for 35 years or 47 years to share the gospel. You can be a Christian for an hour.
Yeah.
And
like the demoniac was.
Yeah.
Like, no, you can't come with me. You have to go tell people in town about me. Okay. What does he know?
Yeah.
I was possessed by 1,000 demons, and he removed them, and he's pretty cool. Like he's good. Let's go follow him. What do you know about him? Well, this is what he did. It's like,
right.
You don't have to know a lot. You just have to know who.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's awesome. And I think that's what's happening, and I think that's what God is up to in the digital space, and specifically the gaming realm right now. It's just still moving and growing. I mean, we're not even saturated. And like you said, like, we can now go search and find other Christians so that we can connect and network and encourage. And I think that's a beautiful thing that we are working on. But it's not so much that every time I go and search that there actually is always a Christian streamer who's in the space. And even if there is, there's not hundreds of us at a time that are. Maybe there's a couple of times a day where that might be true, but not the bulk of the 24 hours in a day and 7 days a week. There is not that many of us yet to have everyone have a Christian show up in their feed as a recommendation.
Right. And that's the hope, is to just flood this space.
Absolutely.
We're
going to multiply. That's what we're doing. We're going to multiply.
And the best thing that we can do is encourage one another.
Wherever you are, whatever you're going through, whatever you're working on, whatever you're trying to improve, whatever struggle in life, yeah, we are being the body with each other, for each other, which we're all trying to do. And our connectedness, they're just happening in spontaneous places, and there's overlap in those. And like the unplanned ongoing Discord call, I might need to show up over there at some point.
Would love to have you in there.
But it's like, yeah, I might want to go experience that. That sounds really cool. So don't close it before the end of the year, so I still make it.
Don't worry, we're not. We're. I have felt very, very led to be doing these devotionals and scripture readings at night.
Super cool.
I'm gonna try to talk with Twin some when she has free time to try to work out some sort of like rough schedule. This way we can kind of stick to getting it done a little earlier in the night. That way more people can potentially be involved.
Yeah. So that kind of piggybacks into what I was thinking to ask next, and that is, what are you looking forward to exploring or bringing about, or continuing in the next year as a streamer?
Yeah. The biggest thing I'm looking forward to is bringing God into the majority of my streams and just being more focused on that. Whereas in the past, I have been a Christian streamer that just is a streamer that is Christian and not really talking about it. But I want to be able to answer questions and bring some knowledge to the table and have genuine conversations with someone who's actually curious, and just be part of that space that is able to share the gospel on a whim.
Yeah.
And a lot of that stems from why I desire so many relationships from Reach, because there are so many people from this that are involved with this that are just so intelligent that
Absolutely.
Just picking their brains and just receiving, even if it's little bits of information from them, are so greatly beneficial.
Well,
that
we all have something to contribute in different areas, and we've got
right.
a lot of different things we've identified. We had 8 different teaching areas on how to become a better streamer, content creator, having that forward focus, which one of them was spiritual realm. We called that magic points or something like that, because we're trying to gamify all of that. We had our mind being stronger in the way we learn and do things. We've got our health in there. So it's like trying to be holistic in the fullness of it, and like have an expert in all of those different areas, including financial aspect has been included too. So it's like we're trying not to neglect any aspect of life, and not like, we want to level up every single part of what we're doing to be doing it the best that we can. So yeah, I'm not the expert in finances. Don't come ask me.
Me either.
Here's my investments back here. I invest in hats and fish, but I haven't figured out how to sell my fish to make any money off of them, so they just keep costing me money. So
yeah. Bosco, how do you make me money? Sorry to disturb you from your sleep, good sir.
So, any other things you're looking forward to in the new year?
I'm just looking forward just to see what God does in my life, because he's done so much in the past few weeks that I'm almost afraid for what he has planned for me for a full year. Because who knows what big changes he's bringing, what small changes he's bringing. A recent change that he brought was my parents that I've lived either in recent proximity to or with have now retired, and they moved down about 10 hours south of me. So that's been a huge change that I've been working on coming to terms with.
Yeah.
Because I used to be so reliant on them for assistance with things. My dad's very hands-on and can fix a lot of things that I just don't have the life experience. Like, for reference, I'm 27. My father is 63. So he has decades upon decades more of experience in life than I do. So he just knows things that I can't know unless I experience them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well,
and
I'm supposed to. I've ordered the part. I'm supposed to go over to my daughter's at some point around right after Christmas and repair her washing machine, her washing machine, because it won't empty with water. It's like, it's the pump. I've replaced that before. What's your model number? Let me get that and then order it, and then we'll fix it. I'm sure that'll be it, and we'll be good to go. Not a problem. Yeah, but why do I know that? Because I've had to do it multiple times in the past. So if you've never done it, you're like, okay, what's wrong with the washing machine? How do I figure that out? So yeah, I'm on that other side where I get asked to go do the repairs at my mom's house because my dad had passed away a few years ago, and go to my kids' house when they need help with things. What's fascinating though is there are people that make videos just to help people be able to do that, to walk your own self through it. I think that's really cool.
That is something that I have seen. That's really cool, and I can appreciate that as someone who could potentially benefit from something like that. But yeah, I mean, it's like, well, what do you mean I can't just call somebody and fix it? Wait, it's going to cost me how much?
Oh yeah, that's the thing.
I don't have that kind of money. How am I going to fix this? Yep. Oh, well, sounds like you got to fix it yourself, but I don't know how to. Well, time to learn.
Yeah, and if you know anyone that can help, you can rely on them. When they're gone, you can't. So you find new people, or they have their own expertise and skill set. I did auto mech class when I was in high school. And the reason I did that for a year is to work on my own vehicle. So then later on in life, I didn't have all of the books of every vehicle, and I didn't face every problem. If you told me what the problem was, I could do the fix. So I actually had a friend of mine. I delivered rugs and towels and uniforms to him for a while, but he had an auto mech place. And he lived an hour away from my house. So my car's broke down. I can't bring it to him. It's broke in my driveway. So I would be able to go to him and say, hey, this is what my car's doing. And he'd pull up the whole schematic. He had all the books on DVD then, could pull up my vehicle, show me the diagram, say, here's what it is, get this part, and I could go do the work myself. But I needed that expert to guide me to be able to do the work myself. So we're doing that in digital space too with, hey, my expertise might be, like you were talking about, doing logos and working in Canva. And you get to share that and be the expert with other people and bring them along and help them figure it out. Or if I just know you do Canva, I go, I've been trying to find this. So by the way, I have been trying to find this. And your logo we had earlier, I've been trying to find how to get text to wrap around and get the right parameter circle and the smallness of the font I want. And I haven't been able to figure that out. So maybe I'll have to pick your brain on that later.
Oh, I am more than happy to help you figure that out. In fact, that's a thing that I did regularly. Yep. So I can help you the second that this is over.
Yeah,
if you
there
have
we go.
Time.
There we go. So that's just so cool. So, okay. Anything personal life you're looking forward to in the next year?
Personal life. Aside from just reach and seeing where my friendships go and just how they continue to build, especially my real life friendships within my small group, that's been a huge thing. Because I will be totally transparent. In the past, probably like 3 months or so of small group, I think I've been 3 times, and they meet weekly.
Okay.
And I had friends from there reach out to me and be like, "Hey, like, what's going on? Yep. Like, you say you're gonna come and then you don't. Like, how can we help you? Like, is there something you're going through that you need help with, or are you struggling with something?" Like, they care so genuinely about me that it's heartwarming to know that they care this deeply, because they're like, they know I struggle with depression, they know I struggle with anxiety, and they like to make sure that I'm not slipping.
Yeah.
Because they know where I've been, they know things that have happened, and they don't want to see me, someone they care about, slip back into that mind space. And so my friendships with them have been faltering because I've been so absent, and things have changed so drastically because I've been so absent, because I've not changed. Things have changed drastically for me because I've been absent, but things are changing, like they're progressing. Like, just because I stop going to something doesn't mean that it stops existing. That's hard to come to terms with for someone like me. But I'm working on it, and I'm doing a discipleship program with a friend of mine, and he's taking me under his wing and helping me do stuff. And I've only met with him once, but he's just such a wise man, and he's a great friend to talk with. And I'm super excited to see where that goes as well.
Quiz King was saying, which the Church Digital we often point out as well. We try to, instead of trying to use the language IRL, in real life, we say in person, because
You know what? That's fair.
so I wasn't picking on you. I was just pointing out what he was saying is like, it is real life. Your online life is real life. You are connected with real people. You're building real relationships. They're not artificial. It's just a matter of if you are in person or if you are online. So it's online life and in-person life if you want to. So I wasn't pointing that out to say you were wrong. It's just
but he makes a good point with that. Yeah.
Yeah. So Wolfie was asking about what the Church Digital is, and we are constantly refining how we describe what we are, but essentially we're a digital missionary sending agency, and we help connect, equip, and care for people in the online missionary space. So wherever that is, so I happen to be the one focusing on gaming. We have others that are focused in other regions around the globe, and we have people that are connected with those that are in the place where they're physical missionaries trying to figure out how to gather in spaces online, because openly sharing your faith in some places is not safe. So we're trying to help people in those places be able to figure things out. And you're talking about, you have done some nerd convention once. Very cool. We're not on the point of we're assigning you a place to go. We are trying to help people that already feel a called to a place to be equipped to be able to serve in that place. So if you already have a spot, Wolfie, that you are thinking about, that you are wanting to go, great. If you tell me where that is, I'll point you to people that might already be doing those things. So
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Ukulele, sometimes our online friends are people we connect with more often than our in-person friends. Absolutely. I see Ukulele for worship most mornings during the week, and I see her a lot more than I see my kids. Let's put it that way. My kids are out of the house. I don't see them very often. I'm trying to think the last time I saw my daughter. I don't know. Probably Thanksgiving was the last time I saw my daughter, and Christmas will be the next time I see her. So I don't usually get to see my daughter once a month, or my mom. That's kind of the way it is. My sons, I could, but it's kind of like I'd be intruding in their space, or feeling like you have to come see us parents. So we can go a couple of months, but we usually see each other that often. They just live 15 minutes down the road.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. My closest family that I have nearby right now is about an hour and a half south of me.
That's not bad. My daughter's 2.5 hours. My mom is 5. So that gets in the way of us seeing each other more often. My in-laws are an hour. They're the ones I probably see the most often. We definitely don't go a month without seeing my in-laws, and it's probably twice a month at least. I'll be going there on Friday, and then they'll be coming. We'll go there Christmas Eve to go worship at our old church with them, and then I will see them the Friday after for everybody coming to my house for Christmas. So it's like, yeah, I'll see them 3 times in the next 2 weeks.
Nice.
So as we just kind of, wrap up, Saber, is there anything that you would like to share with people that we haven't touched on, that we haven't talked about?
Yeah, I'm gonna pull something. I'm gonna have to talk to Twin about this because I've referenced her like 6 times already in this episode. I'm gonna say something that she often says about her own personal testimony. I want to strongly encourage everybody that is listening now and listening later when this goes up on other services. I strongly encourage everyone to take the necessary steps in your faith to making God your first choice versus your last resort.
Nice.
Because I've myself and countless others have been in the situation where God will bring us to our knees so we have nowhere else to look but up. And being in that situation is not fun. So that's why I strongly encourage that. So if you take anything away from this, make God your first choice and not your last resort.
Absolutely. Yeah, going there first, not last resort. Yeah, Saber, it sounds like he's watching on your side, so it's I'm not loud enough on your side, so might need to turn that up just a bit. But we're almost at the end, so sorry about that. If it's been that way the whole time for everybody else.
I have you matching my mic volume on
Okay.
my audio settings.
All right, then maybe there's just something else going on there. It should hopefully be. You're hearing them both fine. Yeah. Well, the last thing I want to ask is, how can we be in prayer for you, Saber?
Yeah. Prayer for me, I will say the main thing is just prayer that I keep this passion inside of me, that I'm able to keep this burning and I don't tire from it, because I don't want to. I want to continue on down the path that I'm heading, and I want to enjoy every second of it with the people that I've been enjoying it with. So I guess just prayer for guidance and continued leadership.
And I know, having gone to many conferences or other events, church events, where you kind of have that mountaintop high experience, and you kind of want to do a Peter and say, can we just build booths and stay here? You know, you have to come down from that. And it is the integration into the rhythm of life that you're trying to work through. So I totally get that, of trying to maintain that excitement level and passion for what God's calling you to, and having that be ongoing and not short term. That's really cool insight, man. We will definitely be praying for that.
Thank you. I'm going to flip your script a little bit here.
Oh.
How can I pray for you?
See, there's a few people that do that on me, and I know that ends up coming. Okay, so I haven't done writing for some time. When I was first got into ministry, I was blogging and got invited to do that in some spaces. I've just felt God pushing me in that direction again this year, and I started working on some writing that I don't know whether it'll be published or not. That part doesn't matter. But then since I'd say the last 2-3 months, I've been feeling that I need to do some blogging. I'm going to be doing some of that for theChurch.digital. I did get asked from Nerd Culture Ministry Summit to do some blogging or blog posts for them as well. So those will be every month, every other month kind of rhythm for them, as well as doing for the Church Digital. It's being faithful to communicate what people need to know and hear. That's really what it is being faithful to do that, instead of trying to be focused on, hey, it's going to be my name on this. It's really trying to make sure that God is that I'm able to put what a person needs to hear, what God is saying you need to share. That's what my prayer is, that I am effective in giving people what they need in writing. So I'll be doing that. So my anticipation is, I've got 12 things that I've got listed for what I want to do to the Church Digital. I will be doing at least every other month. So by the end of the year, I will have, I would say, between 18 and 24, 25 articles that I will have blogged and put out there. So I just, want to be giving people what they need, and not just saying something that brings attention to myself or points to me being an expert in any way.
Right.
Wolfie,
No,
saying
definitely will.
writing
Definitely
is your
be
prayer
praying for
request
that
too. Awesome.
Yeah, definitely be praying for that for you as well, Wolfie.
Yeah. Wolfie, maybe we'll collab on something. I'm seriously, my first blog that I have finished is a collab with someone else that I wanted to do a collab and try that in writing, and it was fun. So, and the way that we did it is, we just had a conversation. We knew the topic. We just talked about it. I used the AI transcript of it to turn that into a blog post. And so I don't know when it'll come out, but it's pretty fun.
We'll look forward to hearing hearing about it.
Yeah. All right. So one of the things that I do at the end is invite the guests to recommend somebody that we go raid, and we can double raid out to bless a person with 2 raids at the same time. So I think that's fun to do. So do you have a recommendation of somebody we can go and raid out to?
Let me see here. Yes, I'm so happy he's live. This is the pros of being live early in the morning. Wilpog live.
He just went live. All right.
He is playing Arc Raiders, it looks like.
Okay. There he is. I have not had him on the podcast yet either. So this is the fun thing. Like, that's like, I'm never going to run out of people to have on the podcast on some level. So it's like, if I just keep doing one a week, I've got years worth of people to invite on the podcast. All right. Excuse me a second. I made it to the end without having to have a cough drop, and now I need to grab one. So
that's good. Praise God.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I'm really close to being over it. I had one before we started. I was feeling it. I went and got, Saber knows this. I'm like, oh, I only have 2 cough drops sitting here. Let me go get cough drops before we get started. So I'm close to over it. I thought I was over the weekend. It snuck back the last couple of days, but it's just a cough. I feel fine. I've had nothing else for at least a month other than the cough that's ongoing. All right. I usually try to do this so we coordinate the raids close to the same time. So if you're ready to start it, we can start the raid, and I'll count it down in 3, 2, 1. So you ready?
Yep.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Raid is started. And it doesn't matter if we're identical, but we're pretty close there. So thank you, NightSaber, for being on with me. Appreciate it so much. Love getting to know you even more, and look forward to hanging out with you in more podcasts along the way throughout the next year. And thank you for bringing your community over. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you for the new follows. And let's bless other people wherever we go.
Yeah, I'm so thankful I got this opportunity to be here and hang out with you some more.
Yeah, it's definitely been fun.